Once upon a time, in the heart of Budapest, there stood an establishment that promised warmth, comfort, and respite for weary travelers. They called it the Hotel Budapest, a name that whispered of elevated experiences and lofty repose. But within its walls, behind the facade of grandeur, lay a tapestry woven with threads of discontent and shattered dreams. As I, a young maiden with a penchant for the poetic and a heart brimming with hope, stepped through its doors, I was greeted not with a smile, but with the cold indifference of a receptionist whose face was as unwelcoming as a fortress with its drawbridges raised. "Welcome to the Hotel Budapest," they said, but their eyes spoke volumes of apathy, a stark contrast to the tales of Hungarian hospitality I had eagerly devoured in the pages of my well-worn travelogues. The first omen of my impending tribulation was the room that awaited me, chamber of glass and porcelain, where privacy was but a fleeting illusion. Imagine, if you will, a sanctuary where the most intimate of human rituals is put on display, as if the architects had conspired to turn the simple act of using the loo into a spectacle for any roommate unlucky enough to share such a space. The toilet and shower, enclosed within crystal panes, stood as monuments to a design philosophy that favored aesthetic over the sanctity of solitude. As I ventured forth into the communal areas, I encountered a barkeep so lacking in vigor and verve that one could scarcely believe he was a purveyor of pick-me-ups. This lad, entrusted with the sacred duty of caffeination, moved with the urgency of a sloth in a tar pit, his hands trembling as he poured coffee with the speed of molasses in January. The simplest of beverages became a Sisyphean task, and my yearning for a cup of warm solace was met with the kind of service that could make even the most patient soul question the very nature of time itself. The odyssey of my dissatisfaction continued as I laid my head to rest upon a pillow that seemed to whisper secrets of 1,000 prior tenants. The ventilation system, a cacophonous beast, serenaded me through the night with a symphony of mechanical groans, its relentless drone rending the veil of slumber I so desperately sought. It was as if the very breath of the hotel was a sigh of protest against the presence of its guests. In the morn, I descended to partake in the morning repast, only to be met with a spread that mocked the very notion of a hearty breakfast. Stale pastries lay in wait like edible paperweights, and the fruit, which should have burst with the juices of life, was instead a collection of desiccated orbs, their once vibrant skins now shriveled and weary. But lo, the tale takes a turn towards the absurd when I was accosted by a security guard in the dead of night, his summons as sudden as it was unwelcome. With no means of communication within my chamber save for a tablet that lay as lifeless as a slab of stone, I was left to my own devices, my mind racing with scenarios most dire. It was a scene straight from a Gothic novel, where shadows loomed and trust was as scarce as a silent night in this ill-fated lodging. Throughout my stay, I encountered the kind of service that could only be described as the antithesis of kindness. The staff, shrouded in a veil of indifference, seemed to have taken lessons from the stoic faces carved into the mountains of Hungary's distant past. Their words, when they graced my ears, were as cold and unyielding as the Danube in winter, leaving me to wonder if the art of warmth had been forgotten in these hallowed halls. And so, dear listener, we arrive at the denouement of my sorrowful sojourn.
The businesses near Hotel Budapest are a masterclass in disappointment. If you enjoy overpaying for mediocrity, being treated like an inconvenience, or discovering new levels of neglect, this is the place for you. Let us take a journey through the bleak landscape of commerce surrounding this hotel, where optimism goes to die. First, we have West End, the shopping centre that hates shoppers. The stores here close hours before posted times, as if the employees have collectively decided that commerce is beneath them. Imagine arriving at 5 in the evening, ready to spend money, only to be met with locked doors and indifferent staff. Zara, in particular, treats customers like intruders. Ask a simple question about a tax refund, and you will be met with the kind of hostility usually reserved for trespassers. Then there are the toilets, which cost money to use because nothing says welcome like paying for the privilege of basic human functions. The parking situation is equally absurd, with electric charging spots occupied by cars that are not even charging, while security guards shrug as if this is some unsolvable mystery. Next, we have Széchenyi Thermal Bath, a place where relaxation goes to be murdered. The water is so heavily chlorinated that it feels like swimming in a poorly maintained public pool rather than a historic thermal spring. The saunas are splintered, the showers are pipes sticking out of walls, and the smell, oh, the smell is a haunting blend of mildew and human despair. Crowds pack in like sardines, making any notion of tranquility laughable. And if you dare to complain, you will be met with the kind of indifference that suggests the staff have long since given up on dignity. Then there is Colves Kurt, a bar where the bartenders treat currency conversion like a magic trick. Hand them your card, and suddenly your payment is processed in euros at an unfavorable rate, as if financial deception is part of the charm. The service is slow, the staff are often drunker than the patrons, and the food arrives with the enthusiasm of a deflated balloon. Order a burger without onions, and you will get onions. Ask for clarification, and you may be told, "Do you not know how to read English?" A question that feels particularly ironic given the establishment's inability to follow basic instructions. Café Gerbode is next, a place where history is used as a weapon against your wallet. The famous Dobos torta is dry, the caramel layer could crack teeth, and the prices are so inflated you might wonder if you accidentally wandered into a financial scam. Sit inside, and you pay double for the privilege of eating in near-empty rooms, as if the café is a museum of disappointment. The staff move with the urgency of sloths, and the only thing more shocking than the bill is the realization that people actually recommend this place. Urtkit is where nightlife goes to be miserable. The bouncers are aggressive, the drinks are watered down, and the atmosphere is less exclusive club and more bad high school party. Lose something in the coat, check, consider it gone. Try to reason with security, they will treat you like a criminal, and if you dare to question the pricing, you will be met with the kind of smugness usually reserved for used car salesmen. High Note Skybar rounds out this symphony of despair. The view is beautiful, but everything else is a disaster. The drinks are overpriced and weak, the service is glacial, and the staff act as if your presence is a personal insult. Spill a cocktail due to a wobbly table. You will be charged for it because nothing says luxury like punishing customers for the establishment's failures. In summary, the businesses near Up Hotel Budapest are a parade of frustration. If you enjoy being nickel-and-dimed, ignored, or outright scammed, you will feel right at home. But if you value your time, money, and sanity, consider looking elsewhere.
Budapest is a beautiful city, just not in this particular corner of it. I am looking into crimes near Up Hotel Budapest. You know, just to see what kind of trouble tourists like you might get into when you ray staying there for a couple of weeks. I mean, it's a nice area, but you can never be too careful, right? So, businesses near Up Hotel Budapest are like super friendly, but sometimes a little too friendly, if you know what I mean. Like there were these cases where tourists got scammed by stores that offered them special deals on souvenirs and stuff. They promise you a great price, and then suddenly the price would go up, or they swap the item with a cheaper one, and you be left with nothing. I mean, who does that, right? It's like, how could you? My prediction is that the victims probably felt really frustrated and angry, and maybe even a little embarrassed because who wouldn't he, right? They might have even tried to report it to the police, but good luck with that, you know. The scammers probably just disappeared with the money, and the tourists were left with nothing. And then there were these cases of pickpocketing near Up Hotel Budapest.